I have noted the statements that my election as leader of the Alliance for Change would create a conflict of interest for me, as ExxonMobil is a client of the law firm of Hughes, Fields and Stobie, of which I'm a partner, and therefore I presumably will have my decisions influenced by them. I have also noted the statements that I'm a politically exposed person. I'm happy for the opportunity to address both issues and welcome this opportunity. A conflict typically arises where a situation in which concerns or aims of two different parties are incompatible. Example, conflict of interest between elected officials and lobbyists, or a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit from actions or decisions made in an official capacity. In my capacity as leader of the Alliance for Change, I am not in a position to influence government policy, particularly as it relates to Exxon. I, however, may be in a position to influence AFC policy on oil and gas. In order to address this specific issue, the Alliance for Change has determined that the issue of oil and gas is far too complex for a single oil and gas czar who has no prior knowledge of the industry, who makes a policy on the trot to determine the future of the industry. This is an imperial approach which has no place in a modern, complex society. The People's Progressive Party has singularly refused to abandon this approach, and their failure to establish the Petroleum Commission is proof of this. The concentration of decision-making in the areas of natural resources, finance, and oil and gas in the hands of a single person is highly risky, dangerous, and leads to policy being made up on the trot, all of which is bad for business. Oil and gas policy in modern Guyana must benefit from the considerations and deliberations of a field of appropriately qualified and experienced experts. The AFC intends to follow international best practice. In consideration of these matters, the party has appointed Dr. Vince Adams and Mr. David Patterson to head the Alliance for Change Oil and Gas Advisory Committee with full powers to invite highly skilled technical experts, both locally and internationally, onto the committee. Until we attain government, I will have no input in or involvement with the AFC Oil and Gas Committees. Within the first 100 days of being elected to office, I will establish the Petroleum Commission. I will establish the Petroleum Commission. This situation of conflict is not without precedent. The Honorable David Thompson, deceased, was a prominent practicing lawyer and member of the Barbadian Bar up to 2008 while he was leader of the Democratic Labour Party in Barbados. Upon being elected to the office of Prime Minister, he withdrew from the firm of Thompson and Patterson. Henry B. Ford, QC, was one of Barbados's most celebrated lawyers while simultaneously functioning as leader of the opposition. Closer to home, Mr. Ralph Ramkaran, senior counsel, is one of the most prominent lawyers practicing in Guyana. Mr. Ramkaran has himself been an MP as well as a candidate for president of the PPC, all the while continuing to act as senior partner of Cameron Shepherd. If and when elected to office, I will relinquish all ties with the firm of Hughes, Fields and Stobie. Hughes, Fields and Stobie is a 52-year-old law firm which is currently the largest law firm in Guyana. It advises international oil clients and has advised them since the 1970s during various exploratory drilling rounds. In the 1970s, 80s and early 90s, my father and other senior partners of the firm advised oil clients. During the first decade of 2000s, Andrew Pollard and I, who were involved in the management of the firm, determined that we would concentrate our efforts on the oil industry as we anticipated that this would be a new growth area. Andrew Pollard, of senior counsel, has exclusively managed the client ExxonMobil. I have never advised, participated, or assisted Exxon in any negotiations with the government of Guyana at any stage. During the coalition, I did not act for or assist the government of Guyana or Exxon. I have never held any governmental office, nor have I ever advised the government of Guyana. On the 11th of April 2016, I resigned as chairman of the Alliance for Change. Shortly thereafter, I incorporated the not-for-profit company called the Guyana Oil and Gas Association, abbreviated to GOGA. On the 22nd of June 2016, GOGA was dedicated to, and I quote, promoting and representing the interests of all Guyanese service providers in the oil and gas industry in Guyana. GOGA came long before local content, and it advocated from as early as 2016 for local content. GOGA held a series of public lectures to educate the general public about what the oil industry would mean for Guyana. GOGA did not enjoy any support from Exxon. On the contrary, Exxon refused to participate in any public event dedicated to edifying the general public. The headline in the Kaieteur News of the 2nd of July 2017 read, and I quote, Exxon refuses invitation to local public forum but attends in Trinidad. And I'll just read a few extracts from it for your benefit. It's here, 2017. And this is an extract from the Kaieteur News from then. Why would Exxon refuse to engage Guyanese on oil found in Guyana, but feels comfortable talking to Trinidadians on the matter? The question remains unanswered. Not even the organization that invited Exxon, the Guyana Oil and Gas Association, can say why the company refused to show sources at GOGA and say anything that the company was invited twice, both orally and in writing. GOGA said in February, ExxonMobil made favorable comments on the organization's initiative to hold a lecture series to sensitize Guyana. GOGA said at that point the opportunity was seized to invite ExxonMobil to make a contribution to the series, but nothing materialized. And after that oral attempt failed, GOGA sent a written invitation, but again, ExxonMobil refused. This indicates that clearly ExxonMobil and GOGA were not on the same page. I attended the Energy Conference in Trinidad and Tobago in 2016, where I was the first to publicly call for the release of the terms of the production sharing agreement, much against the interest of the government of the day, which was the coalition. I then wrote a letter to the editor in which I specifically said that the production sharing agreement had voluntarily walked us back into the pre-independence era. I have consistently advocated on behalf of the interest of Guyana and her citizens in relation to oil. I welcome the Vice President's call for an inquiry into my relationship with Exxon, and while he's at it, he may wish to include an investigation into Sue, who he said looks after his business, into the several companies which have been allocated constructions and security contracts, and the many more which are alleged to have connections with persons in high office. On the subject of politically exposed persons, I have been a politically exposed person since 2011, when my wife became a member of the National Assembly and subsequently minister. We have consistently declared our assets to the Integrity Commission. There is no magic in being a politically exposed person.